Hey all, happy Monday. It is Coach Tom coming to you live from my Jeep. Um, Doing a little bit of a Mentorship Monday video today. I hope you are well. I hope you are. If you celebrated yesterday, and by celebrated I mean Cinco de Mayo, Cinco de Tequila, Cinco de Taco, de Nacho, de Corona, de whatever you did. I hope today is kind. I hope you've hydrated. I hope you got some rest. Anyway, I just was at the convenience store and I'm just heading home after a fantastic morning. Doing a lot of things. I had such a good weekend in terms of doing nothing that it feels kind of weird to kind of shift gears and get back into it. I mean, I say weekend. My weekend is literally yesterday and today. But yesterday was primarily a day spent on the couch, resting, doing my thing. I forced myself to take a down day, mostly because I am terrible at doing that, and my body was like, you really need to not today, just not. So it was a day spent reading, relaxing, petting the dog, chatting with friends online, playing some video games. I took a nap twice, and it was good. But yeah, so it's now May. Things are rolling right along. We're like real close to summer, and I say this, it's like maybe 50 degrees outside today and rainy, but they keep telling me 80 degrees is coming this weekend. I will believe it when I see it. But yeah, so I mean, yesterday's down day was actually quite good for mind and soul. One of the things that I've started doing is, and this is something you can absolutely do in your own life, is I've started a book club. It's the weirdest little thing, but I'm working my way through a self-help book, as I've mentioned before, and I think I mentioned this last time where I did one of these videos. Anyways, doing this self-help book, really great guy. I've got two friends who've both got copies, and we're individually working through our copies and coming together on Sunday evenings, and just talking about what we read. And the significance about that is that we're all gay men, which if you are at all adjacent to or part of the LGBTQ plus community, you know that most of our conversations, or a lot of our sort of culture and like online stuff, is more often than not revolves around things about like parties and drag race, and you know who does what in the bedroom, and like who's hot and who's not, and that's all well and good. That's all it's fun, it's camaraderie, I get it. But to forge a communion of people that and I mean that word specifically, communion, to forge a communion of people, and it's not many of us, who come together to talk about things like, you know, trauma and growth and fear, and kind of the stuff that's what I'm learning as I progress through my life is underneath the skin and surface of so many people in our wider community. Having a moment to dish that stuff that's, you know, open and safe and respectful and emotional and supportive and loving is really, really, really good. I feel like it's something that, I don't know if it's my sobriety that's brought it out. I don't know if it's because I'm a coach that it's brought it out, but it's like the next level of where I see myself heading with regards to my own coaching, mentorship, that kind of stuff. I really love facilitating and creating spaces for other people in the LGBTQIA plus community to step out of the shadows and step out and, like, you know, own their space, own their being, own their story, own their feelings, own their, you know, bodies, own their minds, own their emotions, like, and really have a chance to sit with them and express them and tell their story and make the connections and all that kind of stuff. I feel like, honestly, that there's a wide gap in our community for this. And I know that there's been a lot of great people out there doing this, and I know that I'm not the first one to stumble across this need in our world. And I mean, you don't have to go far. I mean, there's a lot of support groups, there's a lot of support organizations, there's a lot of, especially in the more urban areas, there's a lot of places to go and people to talk to that are doing this kind of work. Ideally, I would love to bring this more out into spaces that aren't necessarily as urban, where, or at least connect with people that live in spaces that aren't so connected to, the community, whatever that might look like. Not necessarily the gay bars, the clubs, that kind of thing, but like to spaces wherever somebody is. This is kind of a ramble, but anyway, my point was really good to have that opportunity, something I'm definitely going to be leaning into going forward. And I challenge you, as an individual on this planet who's empowered and full of grace and love, ask your friends, ask the ones that are really close to you, like, have they read a good book? What that might be, what kind of story or impact did that have on them? And then push a little further, like have the conversation, like what, especially if it's a book that has to do with self-empowerment or a journey, or even if it's a piece of fiction that does this. As a writer and person who plays in language all the time, like, you can express so much in terms of human experience and exceptionalism and all of that stuff, regardless of the genre that you're doing it. It doesn't have to be self-help. It doesn't have to be a biography. It can definitely be a piece of really good speculative fiction. It can be a piece of poetry. It can be a news clipping. It can be all kinds of things. I've seen transformative, like, obituaries. Like, these things exist. If you have a community of people, a communion of people even, that you think would vibe with whatever you discover in the media landscape, and I'm not talking just about, like, sharing a reel on Instagram, although those can be very effective too in our very short attention span world, but maybe there's a bigger piece. Maybe there's something that requires more patience and more presence and more space to occupy and sit with, that you'd like to share with your closest friends. Do it. Just do it. I know I've been told so many times that I'm full of a lot of words. I'm being full of words right now. But I think that that's something that we need to hang on to in our very much, broken, piecemeal, 30-second bite, Instagram, TikTok, Reels, meme-based world where attention spans are as long as an eye blink. I think it's really important that we find ways to slow down, to sit with pieces of art, whether they're literature or even visual. You can, or even a piece of, like, performance art. Bring your friends to these places with you. If it hits you, if it moves you, and these people matter to you, I feel like it's a really important thing to do. And I feel like it's one way to really move forward and start to do a lot of the work and the healing and the stitching back together whatever might have been lost, say over COVID or over the last presidency or whatever sort of, like, not dystopic, sort of dismembering is a pretty dark word. I don't know, some sort of, there's been a weird social dissociation from each other, I've noticed, in the last sort of, like, decade or so. And I really think we should lean more into less on our tech and more in our humanity. Anyway, yeah, I've been rambling enough. We're talking 9 minutes. So anyways, that's my thoughts today. That's my Mentorship Monday advice. Just, find a piece of art, something, anything. If it moves you in any way, share it with the people you love and listen to their feedback too. Let them find their journey to that piece and inspire you to go even further. I feel like this is how we're going to move forward as a collective, and it's really important. So anyways, take care, have a good day, and I'll talk to you soon.